Hi everybody, Corey Saltershoe Floyd for Amerime Media. And today I'm going to talk about Aquaman, everyone's favorite guy right now, and what it means for the DCEU. Now, about a month ago, Aquaman came out, and no pun intended, it was a big splash. I've watched it. I've watched it, and I like the movie. It has a few problems here or there, but overall, it's nice. First thing I want to bring up. One, the special effects are actually really nice. They're excellent. They're great. Actually, is some really good visuals going on. You actually have a really good supporting cast for Jason Momoa and Amber Heard. You have Nicole Kidman, Patrick Wilson, William Dafoe, Desmond Hansu. It's a really strong supporting cast. It's a great supporting cast. But I realized why this supporting cast exists. Now, don't get me wrong. I did enjoy the movie. I do like Jason Momoa. But he can't act.
Thanks.
He's a great guy and all, but when it comes to a character that has to have a larger vocabulary, he falls apart. If you look at all of his previous films, some of them straight to DVD, well, most of them straight to DVD, you'll notice that all of his characters play these really rough, badass dudes who actually don't have to say a lot of lines. Look at when he played Conan. Look at the movie The Bad Batch. Look at him in Game of Thrones. He literally doesn't say much, and when he speaks, it's a completely made up language. Here we get him delivering lines with some great actors, and a lot of times his acting actually falls flat. Even when the scenes are really cheesy, his stiff acting makes the scene fall a lot flatter than it should. Now, here's the funny thing. I just recently saw him on Saturday Night Live, maybe about 3 weeks ago. Absolutely hilarious. Very funny. Great comedic timing. But somehow his performance doesn't transition over well to Aquaman. It just doesn't work out. They announced him as Aquaman back in May of 2015. The movie just came out in 2018. I feel like somewhere within this 2.5 to 3 years, maybe some acting lessons could have been picked up. I'm not trying to disparage the guy. I like him. He looks great. He has a great look for Aquaman. But at the same time, his acting is unbelievably stiff, which is starting to say a lot for the DCEU's two most successful films, which is Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Two actors who look the part, but their acting doesn't match up. And I'm not trying to disparage Gal Gadot, but if you have to be honest, her acting is just as stiff as Jason Momoa's. But they both look the part. They look fantastic. But when you scratch past the surface, there's still a lot of more acting there to be desired. Another big push from this movie is you had a lot of women going to see it just because it's Jason Momoa being Jason Momoa. He's probably going to be people's sexiest man alive by next year, overthrowing Idris Elba. Calling it now. Watch. Now, the movie itself actually does give a very solid story. Gives the origin of his parents. They also cycle in him growing up as a child and him dealing with the real world. Now, Ocean Master, played by Patrick Wilson, who you'll remember as like Night Owl in Watchmen. He plays Ocean Master he wants his rightful seat at the throne, and he has no problem drowning the rest of the surface world in the process to get it. Here's one of the biggest glaring problems, and this is where the DCEU has dropped the ball. He performs a large, just a sample of an extinction level event by causing large tidal waves. And in this world of Aquaman and its post Justice League, you have no choice but to ask one question. Where the fuck is the rest of the Justice League? Literally, there's so many scenes set up in this film where I feel like there was supposed to be a cameo by another member of the DCEU. Even though, yeah, I get it, it's Aquaman, shouldn't have any other people in it, but I have to disagree because no, this one, unlike Wonder Woman, actually takes place in modern times, and it's post-Justice League. So we should have heard from Flash, or at least Wonder Woman, or at least definitely Superman, since there's a very large critical event happening and these guys are around. But we don't get that. Also, the movie comes off a little cheesier than most, especially in comparison to the dark films that already came out in the DCEU. I guess that cheesiness is intentional, especially when we have a very playful movie coming out like Shazam in the following months. Now, Aquaman is literally probably about to hit its $1 billion mark, which is fantastic. That means we're going to have a sequel. We're going to have the return of Black Manta, who played the minor role in this film, which that they showed in a post-credit scene that he's going to be back. So hopefully we'll get more of that. I'm not really sure how to feel about the DCEU as a whole, but to give this film a grade, I'm going to give it a B-, because one, it did look fantastic, and I do like Jason Momoa despite his very stiff acting. I want him to improve as an actor, because I feel like he's been floating off his looks for quite some time. I get that he's a model, that's cool, but I want to see him as more of a character. I want to see him as an actor, because right now I'm not feeling him as Aquaman. To be honest, after seeing him with Saturday Night Live, I would actually rather see him as Lobo, and because I feel like that would fit into him as a person a lot more. A axe throwing, beer chugging, joke having, fun guy. Because right now, as the King of Atlantis, I feel that he falls exponentially short. Now, for the DCEU and the larger scheme, since Aquaman did very well, they literally greenlit the Batman movie that was supposed to come out in 2018. After so many delays, so many rewrites, that's finally going to be a thing. So hopefully that's one good thing that came from Aquaman, other than, money, we want to drown in it. So hopefully we get a good Batman movie out of it, which I don't know, because, they've been treating Ben Affleck like the redheaded stepson, and we're still on the fence on what the hell is going on with The Flash. And of course, we all know Wonder Woman 84 is going to do just fine. Me personally, I think it's going to be kind of dry since it takes place in the 80s, and we know Wonder Woman's going to end up being okay since Justice League was in 2017. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Hit us up in the comments below. This is Corey Saltitude Floyd for Amerime Media. Thank you for your time. See you around.